Join the California Solar Initiative. Become a certified solar installer at the Center for Employment Training, 761 South C Street, Oxnard, California.
Bueno, vamos a continuar. En el transcurso de estos programas hemos invitado a varios funcionarios, invitamos al señor Tim Fenn, invitamos al señor Zaragoza. Y ahora tenemos a uno de los miembros del concilio de la ciudad, también de aquí de la ciudad de Oxnard, porque obviamente es donde cubrimos la mayor parte de nuestra audiencia. Les hemos dicho que, y estábamos mencionando hace un momento, que mucha gente no participa en las juntas de la ciudad, prefieren estar viendo novelas o otra clase de programas, cosa que respetamos, no hay ningún problema. Pero entonces no se entera a veces de lo que ocurre en la ciudad, de los planes, etcétera, etcétera, etcétera. Cosa que, bueno, es entendible, cada quien toma sus propias decisiones. Tenemos en este momento al señor Bert Perello, que es ahora miembro del concilio de la ciudad de Oxnard. Él nació en la ciudad de Santa Bárbara en 1950, se movió aquí en 1959, estuvo estudiando en Río Mesa High School, entre otros, ha sido funcionario público en otras áreas, por supuesto, no en el concilio de la ciudad. Y obviamente ahora está tomando parte importante de las decisiones que se toman en la ciudad. Mr. Perello, welcome.
Hello.
Tell us a little bit about you. You know, probably people know you, probably some people don't. So tell us a little bit about your background.
I work for the United States Postal Service. I'm a rural mail carrier. I work out of Santa Paula. I've lived in the area since my family moved here in 1958, 59.
Yeah, 59, okay.
62. I've been involved in neighborhood council activities since my wife got me involved in March of 98. The purchase of a home in the area. I've lived in the Oxnard areas. I already mentioned that. My family background is farming. My wife passed away several years ago. No kids. I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know everything that was said.
Don't worry about it.
And let's see. I ran for city council in November, and I lost, and I came back and attempted to this time, and it definitely took more work, and I was very fortunate to get endorsements, and I was successful in getting the seat.
For how many years you was attending in those city council meetings as part of audience? For many years, right? For how many years?
Probably since 1999.
So we're talking about 20 years, probably more than 20 years?
Yeah, a little, not quite 20 years, but yeah, since roughly 99. 98 we started coming in. We once in a while would go to city council, but 99, 2000 for sure, we started going. Regularly, religiously, regularly.
So, quiere decir que desde 1998 ha estado siempre en las juntas de la ciudad. So it looked like since 1998 you was attending this meeting. Cuando veía el programa en la televisión, siempre veía al señor Perello cuestionando detalles de lo que se trataba ahí. When I was watching the program, Channel 10, because I have Time Warner cable, I saw you almost every meeting there, asking questions to the city council members or mayor about all decisions they done. That's correct?
Yes.
You asked many questions to them. Why? You didn't trust them in that time? Posiblemente sea una pregunta tonta, pero usted preguntaba muchas cosas. ¿Tenía dudas sobre ello? Adelante. Okay.
As I mentioned, there's no stupid questions. There's some silly answers, but there's no stupid questions. The reason I would ask questions is because there were issues that would come up, and it seemed that there was a question in need of being asked. But the other part of the equation, the left and the right-hand side of this, when you ask a question, you need to get an answer. Very seldom did we ever get answers. I did not think that I didn't trust them. I just felt that they needed more information to give to the public.
Well, the funny thing is when you asking questions, you have proof of those for those questions you ask, because I saw you have, let's say, the report for the public. Some people don't read those reports.
Right.
Pero entonces le pregunto que cuando hacía la pregunta tenía pruebas al respecto. Did you get always the right answers for those city council members in that time? ¿Usted le daban respuestas correctas en aquel tiempo sobre las preguntas? Go ahead.
The majority of time, we got no answers.
La mayor parte del tiempo no había respuestas.
That's the majority of time we got no answers. And the reason I got involved was because in my neighborhood there was an issue where people claimed to be sick. And I was aware of that, and it was like once you get involved, you can't walk away. People were saying that their children were sick. And it would have been very easy to walk away, but I was involved with a group of people that were committed. They were concerned about people's kids, other people's kids.
In what area do you live? In what area do you live?
South Bank neighborhood.
Okay.
The area is bounded by basically the most recognizable thing is the wagon wheel area. It's Ventura Freeway to Vineyard Avenue and Ventura Road to Oxnard Boulevard.
Mencionaba, señor Perello, que él vivía en un área donde había reportes de que gente se enfermaba y no había respuestas al problema. So after these many questions, did you find out what was the problem in your area? Después de muchas preguntas, ¿encontraron qué era el problema?
Initially, when it started, we did not get answers, and the city of Oxnard, in my opinion, was stonewalling us. And we had an individual named Ventura Fernandez, who was the chairman of the Inter-Neighborhood Council Forum. That's an organization for all the neighborhoods of Oxnard. He lives in the South Winds neighborhood, the farthest south that you can go, Wainimi Road, Cuesta Del Mar area. And the common perception is that the north end of town is a very affluent part, and the south end of town is not an affluent part. And I learned a very important lesson. This individual, Mr. Ventura Fernandez, stood up for the north end of town, which was not getting an answer because of a health, safety, and welfare issue. Mm-hmm. And he then, when we were not getting answers, and he was not getting answers, he then took it to the Board of Supervisors. In the process of taking it to the Board of Supervisors, we had asked our supervisor that represented us for some assistance, and the aide told us that we lived in an affluent area. We should probably contact our residents and get $100 each, put it in a hat, and hire an attorney. The issue, I was not going to sit on that, so I shared that with the residents. Information, like money and manure, does no good unless you share it. You save all the money in the world, does no good unless people share it. You put too much manure on the ground, you'll kill the ground, and information will hurt you if you don't share it with people. You can take advantage of it, but that's not what's going to help people. The chair of the Board of Supervisors was an individual named John Flynn. John Flynn agreed to take it on the matter of health, safety, and welfare because Ventura Fernandez brought it to his attention. John Flynn directed one of his aides, Miss Tina Nunez, to investigate. Ms. Tina Nunez did a fantastic job, and we found out information that we had not been given before, which was available, but we didn't know how to find it. She did. She taught us a lot. She basically, single-handedly, with the assistance of John Flynn, saved our neighborhood.
Mr. Perello, since 1988, 1998, many city council members have been changed already. We have different kind of people.
Sure.
Do you see difference between the past to the current city council? Desde que 1998 hubo un circuito de funcionarios que estaban repitiendo siempre el puesto. Le pregunto si ve ahora diferencia con el actual equipo del Concilio de la Ciudad. Go ahead.
I see some change. I see people somewhat more willing to question. But one of the things that I don't see a change in is that the elected officials seem very comfortable to take the staff's direction, to sit back and allow the staff to handle the questions. Because the comment will be, we don't need to micromanage. Well, when you're an elected official and you go into the grocery store and somebody talks to you and says, hey, I got a problem here, I got a problem there, and you talk to somebody in the administration of the city of Oxnard, they may fix that problem for that one person. But that one person that asked you the question, he may be speaking for a lot of other people, and that answer never gets to the rest of the community. You got to ask questions. It's not that you're attacking anybody. You got to ask questions. The city council will approve things for multiple millions of dollars. The financing is in question, and nobody asks any question. I don't believe that your wife or your husband would allow you to make a business decision without asking some questions. You don't take the first answer as the end all answer. There's more questions.
Lo que quiere decir en pocas palabras, señor Perello, que los antiguos oficiales, de hecho, todavía ve algunas cuestiones de que los oficiales cuando reciben reportes lo toman como un reporte y no hacen preguntas. Igualmente se tiene que hacer muchas preguntas. What I saw in those meetings, Mr. Perello, is some city officials give reports to you guys, and what I noticed when you ask them, they don't even know what's going on. They don't have the answers, even they're in charge in those positions. That's correct. Lo que le pregunto es que hemos visto oficiales que dan reportes al concilio y cuando les hacen preguntas ni ellos saben la respuesta. Am I right? No, okay.
Sometimes it's right, yeah. Sometimes when you
¿Una
ask...
idea why? ¿Una idea por qué?
I often, if I knew the answer to that, we would be much further along on this road than we. I don't know. I don't know why, when a staff person comes to a city council meeting, he's not prepared to answer questions. I would think
that you know, right? Because they know, they
that's
know
their business.
Okay, yeah.
Basically, that's what they get a check every Friday for.
Deberían saber porque eso es su área.
They need to give you the good answer and the bad answer. They need to give you the truth. They need to give you the best case. They need to just not just tell you, for a very poor example, but you know, going to buy a Chevrolet car, buy the red one. That's a good one. They never tell you about the white one or the blue one. I mean, what's the matter with the rest of the cars? They just tell you this one here. And if you ask a question about the others, sometimes it's like a deer in the headlights. They don't know what to say. And I don't know if it's because that's what they're instructed or because they're not prepared. But I find it amazing that a person that has a job in that position cannot be prepared to answer the questions.
Probably because in the past, as you say before, the previous city council members didn't ask too much questions.
That's, yeah.
Posiblemente porque, como dice el señor Perello, antes no le preguntaban tantas cosas. One time I saw one program and one lady say, well, you guys give us reports, but we don't understand why, you know, those kind of reports because they're general numbers. They don't need to be specific, but at least rough idea of what's going on with our money. That's correct?
Yes.
Alguna vez vi una persona que decía que los funcionarios daban respuestas. Pero eran respuestas, nos gastamos en esto, pero no eran respuestas que las personas les satisfacían al respecto. I remember the last meeting you told one guy when they didn't present one report on the screen, they need to have big numbers because it's
you can't.
Even I cannot read it.
They have a handout. I have to wear cheater glasses to read, but even with the cheater glasses, you can't read the numbers. And they're expecting the public to look at this on television, and you can't make it out on television. When you look at the people in the audience, they're looking at the screen. They can't make it on the screen. I'm looking at my fellow council members, and they're squinting to try to make it out on the visual screen in front of them. I mean, that's kind of basic, basically, that's a simple thing for the management of the city to fix.
Sí, unas cosas que los reportes quizás se tienen que poner en números más grandes. So, after those many years, you decide to say, enough, it's time to change, be here to move in the front, right?
After numerous years and working on other people's campaigns to get them on that seat, I never thought I was smart enough to be on that seat. And one day I just woke up, I'm smart enough to be on that seat.
So do you think you take too much time to decide?
No, I felt that there were better people qualified than me too, and I worked for them, and they were not successful. We tried to get other people on there, but for whatever reason, we were not successful. The reason I ran, there were too many things that were not getting addressed, and this...
Sounds like corruption problems?
Well, that's...
Como digo, preguntaba que cuánto tiempo le tardó decidió y hay muchas cosas equivocadas, como el caso de la corrupción aquí en la ciudad de Oxnard. By the way, that kind of topic it was hard topic because...
And a lot of people have just forgotten all about it, too.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't talk about it anymore because it's like old news, but it's not gone away.
But I guess those people... And I can tell you names, but it's not a point. They pay already the consequence because they didn't get elected again. People know who was, and that's why they didn't run again. Esos funcionarios no corrieron otra vez porque sabían lo que tenían.
You know, the general public gets what they deserve when they don't vote.
Una cosa, eso es de la gente obtiene generalmente lo que recibe, lo que merece cuando no vota. Go ahead.
Democracy is a participant sport. You got to be involved.
Sí, la democracia es participar, tiene que envolverse al respecto. Go ahead.
The issue with the things that have been gone wrong in the city of Oxnard, The individuals that worked for the city of Oxnard that did wrong, nothing ever happened to them. There was never any, I'm sorry, there was never any
They're still there.
reprimand. Well, it's not that they're not fired or fired. That's not the point. Nothing ever happened that the public knew. Where I know if I worked in my job, I assume you in your job, if you did something like that, you'd be looking for another job.
Of course.
I assume these three other individuals would be in the same boat. It seems to be a little different in Oxnard. One of the things that bothers me about the city of Oxnard with respect to that, the people at the top are able to, everything's okay, and the people at the bottom pay the price.
Sí,
That's wrong.
That's wrong.
That's wrong. The north end, the south end, the east, the west, no matter what color skin you got, you'd be treated the same. That's the law in this country.
La parte que dice el señor Perello es que, bueno, en este desorden, los de arriba se lavaron las manos y le dejaron las consecuencias a los empleados de menos categoría. Because when we saw what kind of fine people receive, I guess the maximum fine somebody gets is $10,000. $10,000 is nothing compared to what they really done wrong. A lot of corruptions.
Put it this way, real simple, plain English. The first night that I'm at City Council, the meeting lasted till 3:15 in the morning.
Primera noche que tuvo como, ahora como el miembro, terminó a las 3:30 de la mañana.
And let me finish. 3:15 in the morning. The idea and the reason for that was there were violations that people had not paid their fine for code enforcement, and they were going to put liens on their property, attach it to their property.
Good.
A major official thing. The minimum lien was $125.
Which is not.
That's right. It's peanuts.
Why didn't pay?
Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
For years, the public has been asking, what about the people that got the advantages that the Ventura County District Attorney identified? Greg Totten, the Ventura County DA, said the city of Oxnard, city manager, Mr. Sotelo, got two $10,000 loans. He got $300 supplemental retirement benefits to individuals, and not once did the elected officials approve those things. Those were considered by the Ventura County District Attorney as illegal. Why didn't my city go after that money? And it's taken until tomorrow night, the item is on the agenda to be discussed if we're going to try to get at it. I promised that when I sat at that meeting at 3:15 and they put a loan, and I believe the gentleman's name, I think his name was Mr. Guerrero, he was mad. He was mad that lien was going to be on. And I told him, I said, I think it was Guerrero, I'm going to go after every nickel and dime that's owed this city.
Good.
Because that's only right. Because here is the situation. If you have a policeman and he's going to arrest your kid for putting graffiti on a wall, and you arrest your kid for putting graffiti on the wall, and your kid has been able to read the newspaper and found out about those things that happened in the DA report, and he asks, how come they're going after me, but they let the big fish get out of it? How come mom and dad that happens? You better have an answer for
Let
me.
me tell this to people. Lo que menciona él es que encontraron que las multas tan bajas, incluso la de $125, que fue la más baja, y a muchos funcionarios no las han pagado, y ahora les van a poner lien en sus propiedades por esa cantidad, que es una ridiculez lo que deben. Lo que aquí se debe hacer es que la ley sea realmente para todos. Talking about graffiti, the last meeting you guys discussed when you asked the one person there, how much the city pay for the graffiti program, $700,000. I guess $760,000 per year. Le estaba preguntando que en la última junta, el señor Perello preguntó algo, ¿cuánto cuesta el programa de mantener a la ciudad fuera de lo que es el programa de graffiti? Son $760,000 aproximadamente al año. Y de ese dinero solamente se recupera entre 20 a 25 mil. For those, it was funny how much the city recovered for restitution of
$50,000 or $60,000. That's it.
It's nothing.
It's peanuts again.
Peanuts. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Every year, and this 700, I believe, is less, because there have been years that we've spent $1 million on this graffiti. And it's, come on, what's going on?
We need to fix the problem.
I don't know, but there's got to be something better than what we're doing.
Yeah.
People have lost respect for private property, and mom and dad's involved, and everything else. Something's got to change, because if you're money like that, you'll go broke one day.
Yeah, definitely. How you feel now? Behind and not from in those meetings. How you feel? You feel better?
A very close friend asked me, well, do you want to quit? And I said, no, I don't want to quit.
No, I feel you like this position.
Well, no, one thing that I like about this position, I really enjoy. Before, you had 3 minutes to express your opinion, and you had to hope that somebody of the elected official would carry your question and ask it of staff. It happens so rarely. It was unique when it did happen. Now, being on the other side, somebody brings up a question, or you have a question in your mind, you can ask the question. And when the answer doesn't make sense or it needs a follow-up, you can get a question asked.
So
that is some degree of confidence. But to accomplish something, you need to have 2 other council members go along with you. It's a democracy.
Yeah.
There's 5 members, 3 of them are the majority. That makes a decision. Tuesday night, there's the item about, are we going to go after the $300 and the 2 $10,000 loans? To find out, what are we going to do? It takes 2 other people to get up there to decide they want to put it on the agenda. It's simply on the agenda to discuss. If any of your listeners are out there and they're interested in fairness or justice, come to the meeting and express their views. I'm not doing this for Bert Perello. I'm doing this because I was taught as a kid, what my money and what I do with my money, I'm going to answer to me and my family. If I'm going to be a fool with my money and my family, I'm going to answer to my family. If I ever handle a friend, a business, or public money, that's an entirely different thing. You answer to an entirely different stage. You don't screw around with public money.
Well, some people did, obviously, and that's why we have those kind of problems. The current city council members, well, as you said before, the democracy is open. You know, everybody can have their own opinion.
Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable with this current team? ¿Te sientes cómodo con este equipo, aunque en la democracia, pues cada quien puede pensar de manera diferente?
I feel comfortable. I've just got there. I think the answer is yes.
You were in the past, when you was part of the audience, some city employees don't like you because you question too much.
Sure.
The activities, they supposedly job.
Nothing has changed with respect to that.
Well, that's why. Do you think right now some employees, the same employees, don't like you before, even you are now part of the city council, they still don't like you?
Sure. And again, that's part of I believe that everybody that ran, these 13 individuals that ran for the seat, they all ran for their own personal reasons, including myself, and it wasn't to make friends. There's an old statement.
This is not friend, this is business.
That's right.
A business and responsibility.
It's not personal, it's business. And there's a statement that's attributed to a former President Truman. If you want to have a friend in politics, you get a dog.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I didn't get in this to be friends. I got in this to have some answers because I live here. I'm not planning to move. I could have moved a long time ago. I live in my city. The things that are going on, it's embarrassing to go to other communities and people laugh. Oh, you come from Oxnard. It's right, I come from Oxnard. Where else are you going to get a place like this to live? Where else are you going to get this kind of weather? Where else are you going to get an opportunity to live in a fantastic city like this?
Yeah, we have potential, definitely.
I got excited.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You say something very important. You like what you do.
Do I like what I do? I appreciate the fact that I was elected. It's scary that people are trusting you to do something and make a big difference because I can see it's going to not be easy to make a big difference. I'm trying my best to try to make a difference. I have to work with people. I have to be fair, but I have to work with people and try to convince them that if some of the decisions that are coming up may not be their best interest, I at least have to try to convince them to ask some questions, try to get them to use they're all smart, to get, just like these guys in this room, get them to use their intelligence to think about it. Is this the best we can do? Is this the best we can do? You would not let your kid or your family or your parents get in some of the business deals that the city of Oxnard has gotten into. You wouldn't do it. You'd be ashamed of yourself if you did. And my city, that hasn't worked.
What do you like to fix or improve in the city of Oxnard in short period of time? ¿Qué le gustaría componer en la ciudad de Oxnard en un periodo corto?
The neighborhood council system is what I come from. I got involved in my neighborhood council. I did not intend to get involved in any of this stuff. I got involved in my neighborhood council. Everything is local. In your neighborhood, every neighborhood has similar issues, but each neighborhood's the way they handle them is different. There needs to be more involvement from the residents of Oxnard in their neighborhood councils and bring the issues forward to the city council, and the city council has to pay attention to the neighborhoods. For example, redevelopment. Redevelopment's going away. Who's going to decide where to spend all these millions of dollars that we're talking about? It should be the neighborhoods deciding where the problems are in their neighborhood. They should prioritize the issues, which neighborhood has the most needs, and there should be a priority list. It shouldn't be that the wealthier neighborhoods, or it shouldn't be the neighborhoods that have the highest percentage of voters, or it shouldn't be the neighborhoods that have friends on city council that get the help first. It's the same thing with streets. It's the same thing with the question about we need firefighters, we need police officers, we need services, we need the library, we need all kinds of services. But it also comes along with that the responsibility of asking questions, specifically, are we spending the money the best we can? Are we getting what we're paying for? There's nothing wrong with questioning that stuff. There's nothing wrong with questioning an individual, are you doing the best you possibly can? Maybe we need to retrain you. Maybe we need to give you some help. Or maybe we need to replace you. That's the real world. This is not, this is not heaven on earth here. This is the real world.
So, lo que quiere decir es que muchas cosas tendrán que componerse. Wow. It's very interesting, the city council's meetings, because again, as you said before, for some big topics, they don't ask too many questions, they just approve it, or comments, but they don't, well, make comments is different to question about the specific issue. But well, so it was in the past probably. Right now, I saw you.
Oftentimes there were info consent sections of the meeting. There might be 20 items on the meeting, and the only comments that would be made were move the recommended action. Second, everybody voted yes. Nothing was asked. And we had multiple $1 million on those items.
What is the budget for Oxnard? Like
the total value of Oxnard? I don't have
the budget.
The budget? I don't have the exact number. I don't have that number.
But we spend a lot of money.
There's a tremendous amount of money that goes through the city of Oxnard. There's a lot of good men and women that work for the city of Oxnard, and in some instances, a few bad apples have painted them all with the bad brush.
Well, I guess in the future, probably the city employees or the people who are in charge in those big departments, they will see carefully how they present the report to you guys, since I guess they feel somebody is watching them.
Well, hopefully the public is watching them, because I was just a member of the public just a few months ago.
But you represent the public.
That's right. That's right. The ones that voted for me and the ones that didn't vote for me and the ones that didn't even take the time to vote. But the issue is this. When the residents of Oxnard pay attention to what's going on, things will happen. If they just let it slide, it could easily go back the way it was.
It's not only that, Mr. Perello. I guess people who did vote for you, they expecting you do a good job, but at the same time, all people, because in reality, you work for everybody.
That's right.
Regarding if they vote yes or no to you.
That's right.
So, lo importante es que tiene la responsabilidad de los que votaron, pero también de los que no votaron, porque finalmente es un funcionario público. Thank you very much for coming. I will invite you next time, because I know you have meeting, and I will let you know this program is open for you guys.